Turn on my mic. Good afternoon and welcome to the Committee of Adjustment hearings for Suburban Panel 2. We are a City of Ottawa quasi-judicial tribunal that holds public hearings to consider Planning Act applications, including minor variances to the zoning requirements and consent to sever land. Our hearings are now in person at Ben Franklin Place, 101 Centerpoint Drive. We also enable remote participation by video conferencing for our registered speakers. We are live streaming on YouTube and the video will be archived and available for future viewing by the public. My name is Fabien Poulin. I'll be chairing today's hearings and you can address me by my name or as chair. And with me are my fellow panel members, Jay Baltz, George Barrett, Heather McLean, and Julianne Wright. The procedure for the hearings will be as follows. Listed on the agenda and appearing on the screen from time to time are the applications we'll hear today. For the sake of efficiency, I may deal with agenda items in a different order. Panel members have reviewed the planning reports and any written submissions in support or in opposition to each of the applications. Today, we'll hear any oral submissions relating to the applications. As part of the statutory public notification requirements, each applicant was required to post a sign on the property in question before the hearing. They also had to confirm in writing that they did so, or they'll need to swear or affirm an oath today that they fulfilled the sign posting requirements. Otherwise, we may have to adjourn or postpone the hearing. The panel may ask for a brief presentation of an application, followed by questions for the applicant and city planning staff. We will then hear from the public who have registered to speak, and we may also have questions for them. Finally, the applicant, who has the burden of proof, will have an opportunity to make final comments and reply. Please address your comments to me as chair, starting with your name and spelling it if necessary, and your municipal address for the record. All presentations are limited to 5 minutes. Any exceptions will be at my discretion. At the end of the hearing, the panel may either make an oral decision or we may reserve our decision, which means we won't be delivered today. In either case, and within 10 days, the Committee of Adjustment will send the official written decision and reasons for it to all parties, participants, and anyone else who has requested a copy. Does anyone have any questions about the procedure we'll be following today? No questions? We have several applications to hear today, but we first need to deal with some preliminary procedural matters. Are there any declarations of interest by any panel members today? There are no declarations of interest. We need to confirm 2 minutes of previous meetings. The first is I'm asking the panel to approve the August 5th minutes. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Next is the August 19, 2025 minutes of our meeting that day. All in favor, please raise your hands. Those minutes are also approved. We have received requests for adjournment from 2 applications today. And the first one has to do with item number 1, 4836 Bank Street and 155 Dunn Skipper. I'm looking for an A. Clark. Will they be joining by remotely? Allison Clark, are you available?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ms. Clark. We understand that you're looking for an adjournment of your application today. Is that correct?
Staff requested it, but we are agreeable, yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'd like to then ask the panel if they would like to adjourn this application sine die. All those in favor? Your application is adjourned sine die, ma'am, and we'll look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Next item up for adjournment is 3927 Nixon. And I'm looking for Edek Sankowski. Come on down, sir. You need to press the button, so There you go. Could you state your name and your address, sir?
My name is Edek Sinkowski. I reside at 3927 Nixon Drive.
We understand that Planning Services has requested an adjournment. Are you in agreement with that adjournment?
Yes, I'm in agreement with that adjournment.
And we'll adjourn at sine die. Is that good for you?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
I'd like to ask the panel if they would like to adjourn this application sine die. All those in favor? Your application has been adjourned sine die, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next on the list is to look at unopposed applications, and we have three. To be on the unopposed list, you need to qualify. And that is, there should be no objections or concerns from the parties, that is the applicant, city, or the public. No amendments are required. No registered speakers. A signposting declaration has been received. The applicant or their agent has confirmed that they agree with all the requested conditions, if there are any, and there are no questions from panelists. There are three today that meet those qualifications. The first one is item number 2, having to do 1064 Normandy. I'd like to ask the panel for approval of this application. All those in favor, please raise your hand. This application is approved. The next item is item 6, having to do with 155 Spadina. Does the panel approve this application? All those in favor? Your application is approved. And the last item today on this agenda is item number 9, having to do with 114 Finn. All those in favor of approving this application, please raise your hands. That application too is approved. Now we'll proceed to looking at the applications in order, and we'll first begin with item number 3, having to do with 2204 Boyer. And I'm looking for Cole Story. Cole Story, are you available?
We're bringing the applicant forward, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Cole Story, are you there?
It's going slow, Mr. Chair, but the agent is online. and
Okay.
I believe he's being moved forward.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can you state your name and your address, sir?
My name is Cole Story. I'm the agent for the owner at 2204 Boyer.
Great. Would you like to give us a brief description of your application today, sir?
Yeah, so we're looking to take the lot at 2204 Boyer. We want to sever it in half. We want to put 2 long semi-detached buildings on there, each with 6 units each, so 3 units front and back. There was 2 applications. There was one for the severance and then one for the right of way going in between the 2 lots for the joint parking in the back. There's 8 spots total.
Is that your presentation, sir?
I have a bit more. I just don't know how much information you require.
If you want to give us, it's your opportunity.
Yep, no, I'll go through it right now. So on these new lots, like I said, we proposed 2 long semi-detached buildings. Each of these 2 buildings will contain 6 residential units for a total of 12 new units. With 8 parking spots in the back. This project is a clear example of the type of intensification encouraged by the City of Ottawa's official plan. It efficiently introduces new housing options on a fully serviced lot within the urban boundary. City's planning department has conducted a thorough review of our application. The report confirms that the proposal is consistent with the Planning Act and concludes that they have no concerns with the application and recommend its approval. I would like to note we are not applying for any minor variances. So we're well within all of the zoning bylaws and city bylaws represented with this property. The technical aspects of this project are straightforward. The new lots will have independent water, sanitary, and storm services connected directly to city infrastructure as mandated by the conditions of approval. We've reviewed all 9 of the city's conditions and are fully prepared to meet them, and we did agree to all the conditions. We did get a letter from a neighbor. I could address those now, or we could address them after. Would you like me to address them now?
Sure, if you'd like to address it now, sir.
Okay. So item number 1 we received from the public was intensification and neighborhood character. Their objection stated that the intensification drastically changes the nature of the neighborhood. And our response to that is it's fully within the City of Ottawa zoning bylaw, residential second density subzone and R2N. And I believe in a similar presentation on Boyer, there was a bill that increased from 2 units per building to 3, so it complies with that as well. They were concerned about the mature cedar hedges just inside our property lines, and a large maple tree within 3 meters of the property line. So that is addressed directly in the tree protection bylaw. And it also is part of our conditions of severance, condition for approval number 8 and number 9. We will be providing a revised tree information report prepared by an arborist that specifically assesses the neighborhood's protected tree and provides mitigation measures. And number 9, that our final site and grading plans will be designed to have the least impact to protected trees. Parking, their objection was the proposal schematic indicates 8 parking spots for 12 units. They said this is the burbs. I imagine that means the suburbs. People and renters have cars. Our response to this is it complies with the city zoning bylaw with the amount of parking spaces required. And as mentioned in a similar presentation, the transit routes are very close by and very accessible. Just across Innes Road, there is a walkway to access those transit stops relatively easily. The next one was noise. With 12 units right behind our property, we will absolutely see increase in unwanted noise. All future residents will be subject to the city's noise bylaw. It governs noise at all times of day, even during construction. But my client, has agreed to put up perimeter fencing to help reduce said noise. So that's one way we're going to deal with the noise. Their next concern was snow clearing and garbage. Their concern was where the snow will be piled and how garbage will be managed. Both of these operational items will be professionally managed, as mentioned in I think it's also one of the conditions as well. And it falls under the property standards bylaw, and there is a solid waste management bylaw as well that basically governs how waste can be managed. They had a concern about property value. We can't really comment on that. I'm not a property assessor by any means, so can't really comment on if it'll negatively affect the property value at all. And then they also had one about potential blasting, and if blasting is necessary, which again I'm not sure of at this point, everything will be handled directly with the city with necessary building permits and such. And that's all I had for that.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Now I'd like to ask the panel if they have any questions for the applicant. Ms. McLean? Mr. Baltz? No? Ms. Wright?
Yes, I do. Thank you. So you mentioned you were going to be doing one of the conditions is a revised tree information report. Can you just explain to me what's going to be in that revised report?
I believe the idea surrounding the revised tree information report is to include basically it's addressing condition number 8 to basically address the concerns regarding the hedges and the trees that are on the property. We want to respect those trees, and I believe there was some missing information on our original tree information report, and that's why it was included in the condition of severance. So we just need to do a more in-depth tree information report.
Okay, and you also mentioned you'll be putting up a perimeter fence
That's correct, to reduce,
on all 3 sides?
yes.
Okay. And then I just had from practically speaking, I noted on the elevations, there are a significant number of windows at grade that will be between the 2 buildings when they are ultimately built.
Mhm.
When you're clearing snow in that lane, how do you prevent the snow from piling up against a window that looks to be maybe 4, maybe 6? I don't know how far off the ground. Just curious.
I mean, that's a good question. I'm not a snow removal guy myself, but I imagine it would have to do with hand shoveling and potentially blowing the snow out of there after hand shoveling away from the building.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Barrett, do you have any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you very much. Now we'll move on to planning services and ask them if they would like to comment on this application. Ms. Yang, are you available? There you are.
So I think we would like to change one condition for this application, which is condition number 5. So we would like to change the wording of the condition and add if required for the Juma condition.
Okay. I'd like just to ask the applicant, you agree with that minor change?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else, Ms. Yang?
That's it. I have no further comments for this application.
Okay, I noticed that on the conditions themselves, item number 2 and item number 7 are almost exactly the same.
I noticed the same as that as well, yeah.
So let me just read through the condition for number 2 and number 7.
You'd like me to read through it, or you're gonna read through it?
She's looking at it right now.
I think number 2 is required by planning service development review, and number 7 is required by the building code services. And I noticed they're exactly the same. I don't know if we can remove it, but I will refer to Mr. Earl and my supervisor to talk about this remove of condition.
Okay.
Sorry.
Is your supervisor on the line? There he
Yeah.
is. Okay, I see him there. Mr. Ireland, do you want to comment on number 2 and 7?
Yes, I can. One of them can go. They do repeat.
Okay, which one do
Thank
you
you.
want to go? Which one
Remove
do you want
2 makes sense.
Okay. You okay with that, Mr. Story?
Yep.
Okay. Item 2 will be removed. Okay. And I'd like to ask Ms. McLean, do you have any questions for planning?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just wondered about whether or not there should be a condition for demolishing the existing dwellings and accessory buildings.
Yes, there should be a condition for demolish existing social buildings.
So do you want to read that into the record so that Mr. Story can understand what you're asking of him?
Sorry, just 1 second.
Sure.
So the conditions rates that the owner provided the proof to the manager of development review or wards branch within planning department and building services department. And that's all there designate that the existing dwelling or building has been demolished in accordance with the demolish permit. Notice shall be provided in writing to the committee from the department confirming the condition has been fulfilled.
Thank you. Mr. Story, do you agree with that condition?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, so that'll be added to the condition, the required conditions should this application be approved. Any further questions, Mr. Bolts? No. Is right? No. Mr. Barrett? No. I have one just on the parking.
Yeah.
Does the parking meet or exceed the zoning requirements?
Well,
Well, Mr. Story, I'm asking planning.
Oh, sorry.
So the current parking meets the zoning requirement. So the current requirement is 1 unit each under the current zoning.
Okay, so you're having 12. Is that correct, Mr. Story?
There is 8 in the back.
And how many units are you having?
We do have. Yeah, there's 2 long semis. 12 units.
So you're shy by 4?
Let me just confirm with my client. Just give me 1 second.
Ms. Yang, is he less than what he's required to have?
Sorry, I would like to correct. So they need 1 per principal units and no for additional units. Or the additional residential
So
units.
the question
So
was,
there's 4 principal units.
okay, so the question was, does he meet or exceed the zoning bylaw?
So he meets the zoning bylaw.
Perfect, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you. Okay, now we'd like to move on to the
I
public.
think
Is there
to meet
anyone?
and exceed it.
Pardon?
We exceeded, I think.
Sorry. Mr. Ireland, you have something you want to say?
Ms. Yang is correct. It meets the requirement for parking.
Thank you. Now I'd like to ask the public if they have any comments to make with respect to this application. Is there anyone from the public in the chamber? Anyone online? No one online. Okay, so now I'd like to give Mr. Story the last word, if you'd like to make that comment, sir.
The only thing that I would, if it's on the parking, if it's 1 per principal unit, we have 4 principal units, then my question is, does that exceed?
You have 1, you're only required 4.
So to me, does that mean it exceeds if we have 8?
It would mean that you're doing better than what the bylaw requires.
Okay. That was my only question, and I think that's my only.
Okay. Well, you have the right to sum up and make your case, your summary of your case if you'd like. If you don't, that's okay too.
There's no concerns, and it was recommended for approval, so hopefully this gets approved as it is.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Now I'd
Thank
like
you.
to ask the panel if they would like to reserve on this application. All those favor of reserving, please raise your hands. Your application will be reserved and we'll give you our decision within 10 days, sir. Thank you very much for your application.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Next item on our list is item number 4, having to do with 4681 Newtown. And I'm looking for Yasaman Bahadori. If I got that right.
Good afternoon, panel.
Can you just press the button out front to make your machine go green? Nope, right in the middle. There you go.
Yeah, it's green.
Yeah.
So my name is Yasaman Bahadouri, and with me I have Syed Yar Mohammed, who also assisted on this file, and our address is 2200 Thurston Drive, Unit 203, Ottawa.
Would you like to make a brief?
Yes, we
description?
have prepared a presentation in support of this application. If the coordinator could put it up on the screen, thank you. So this is a consent to sever application for 4681 Newtown Road in Fitzroy Harbor to sever one lot into two parcels. Next slide, please. Yeah. So the site is located in rural transit designated as rural countryside as per the official plan. Next slide, please. The site is zoned RU or rural countryside, and the aerial image shows Newtown Road running east-west and Galata Side Road running north-south. Next slide, please. So this is a severance sketch, which will result into two lots within the original parcel. Severed lot or part one with an area of approximately 2.1 hectare and a frontage of 140 meters and contains the existing home, 6 accessory building, a well and a septic system with no further development proposed. The retained lot or part two with an area of approximately 39.5 hectare and frontages of approximately 51 meter and 242 meters currently vacant with a new dwelling to be built within the 0.4 hectare building envelope identified in the EIS, large enough to contain a house, accessory structure, well, and septic. Next slide, please. So this is the existing house and accessory structure located on the part one or severed lot. Next slide, please. And these site photos show a small access road leading to the building envelope on part two or the retained lot. Next slide. So as per section 62.2 of Ottawa zoning bylaw and policy 2.65 of provincial planning statement, minimum distance separation calculations are required to support rural severance applications. So 3 nearby properties with active barns, storage and manure storage were identified within 750 meters and the closest being 4688 Newtown Road at approximately 76 meters. Under MDS guideline 41, lots over 1 hectare without an existing dwelling required the setback to be measured from a modeled 0.5 hectare potential building envelope. So for 4688, a 0.5 hectare envelope was modeled to encompass the 0.4 hectare building envelope identified in the EIS, and the measure distance is fully compliant with the MDS fund. And also the 2 other livestock properties are also meet MDS1 setback requirements, and the proposed severance and future building permit will comply with all OMAFRA setback requirements. Next slide, please. So policy 56414 and 5 requires development to avoid negative impacts on natural features and to comply with environmental impact assessment. The EIS confirms that the proposed severance does not negatively affect the natural heritage system and remains consistent with the conservation objectives. Next slide. So also field studies identified unevaluated wetlands and a water course, but the EIS confirmed they are not provincially significant. Next slide, please. So this is the EIS, confirms no adverse effects on natural resources, ecological functions, or flood control. Building envelope located outside all key features and requires 30-meter setbacks. Lot line intersects natural features. However, no grading or development is proposed within these areas. The lot configuration also reflects these constraints as the severed lot line includes a jog to ensure the wetland is entirely avoided. And also a small existing access road is already present going to the building envelope, and minor improvements, if required, within the 30-meter setback will be mitigated through erosion and sediment control measures as recommended in the EIS. So proposed severance is consistent with the official plan conservation objectives. Next slide, please. So to address the criteria in section 5124 of Planning Act, this proposal avoids wetland and water course. It's not in agricultural resources area and conforms to rural countryside policies permitting 1 new lot. The proposal is not premature. It's consistent with the official plan and zoning and existing rural lot patterns. Severed and retained lots are appropriately sized, functional, and provide space for well and septic, and also the jog in the lot line avoids environmental features. Next slide, please. So both lots front Newtown Road
Please continue.
and no new road is proposed. It's serviced by private well and septic, which is standard for rural areas. Development sited outside sensitive areas and 30-meter setbacks, and only minor culvert upgrades mitigated through erosion and sediment controls. And there are some adequate nearby schools between 4 to 17 kilometers, and there is no land dedication required. Limited development footprint promotes efficient land use and help minimize energy and resource consumption. And the proposal is not located within a site plan control area. So that concludes our presentation, and we'd also like to speak about condition 6, but we are available to answer any questions you might have before we get to that.
Sure.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask the panel if they've got some questions for you. Ms. McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Do you have a plan showing the location of the 6 accessory structures on the severed land?
So we don't have that at the moment, no.
So how would we know whether or not the severance line, what the proximity of those buildings are to the proposed severance line, or whether the severance line goes through to buildings, or what information can you provide us on that question?
If I am remembering correctly, sorry, your question was in reference to the location of the wells, or sorry?
Yeah, so it's the location of the 6 accessory structures, I think is what you say in your letter and in your presentation. When we introduce a new severance, a property line, we want to make sure that there's proper setbacks and that the line doesn't go through any of the buildings. So it just needs some kind of comfort on where these buildings are and their location to the proposed severance line.
I do believe we have a rough idea on the 6 accessory structures. As far as a graphic, at the moment, we don't have one that illustrates the location of the 6 accessory structures.
Okay, thank you. I'll just have a question for planning when we come to that. Thank you.
Should probably have the same question for you, Ms. Yang. Okay. Mr. Balls, do you have any questions? No? Ms. Wright?
No.
Mr. Barrett? No, I don't. Okay, thank you. Okay, so now I'd like you to address the notice on title item number 6, if you don't mind, of the conditions.
Yeah, so if we could have the presentation back up, please. So condition 6 on the staff report mentions the property is located next to lands that have an active railway now or may have one in the future and may therefore be subjected to noise, vibration, and other activities associated with this use. And as previously mentioned, this can be found in the Planning, Development, and Building Services Department report. We are looking to contest condition number 6, as this relates to an abandoned former CN rail that hasn't been used in over 10 years. This trail is currently being used for walking, running, and hiking. Additionally, if you look at the illustration, our subject site is 27 kilometers away from the former abandoned CN rail bridge. And the city has invested $2.66 million in removing the bridge and the overpass. And this is part of the CN rail project in the area. And we can also take a look at all 3 of the images. That path hasn't been used by CN rail for over 10 years and is currently used for pedestrians and as a walkway. If we move to the next slide, you can take a look at the former overpass or the former bridge on the top image. And then the bottom is the proposed plan from the city to widen Carling Avenue Road to make it safer for pedestrians, cyclists, and motorists. And the first image on top, it was unsafe for cyclists just because the shoulders were narrow and that created an unsafe environment. So by broadening the shoulders of the road for Carling Avenue, they also removed the bridge overpass for the CN rail. And this also ties in with the abandoned CN rail. And just to reiterate, the city has approved the 2.66 million to date. And with this significant investment into reshaping Carling Avenue, we think it is unrealistic to place condition number 6 and future proposed railway lines. Construction started in early summer of 2025, and that bridge, as of now, has already been demolished. So I guess just to conclude, condition number 6 we feel is a bit unfair, and it holds very minimal value, especially when we're taking a look at the future of CN Rail and having a railway in that given area, just because of the 2.66 million investment from the city. And we believe it will not be implemented in the near future as well.
Does the panel have any questions for the applicant on item number 6, Mr. Barrett? No, I don't. Okay, Ms. Wright?
Do you know who actually owns the rail line? Like, has the city purchased it?
So I believe originally it was by another company, but then CN Rail purchased it. I believe at the moment it is either, that pathway, I believe, would be owned by the city. And it is not being used at the moment, so.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. McLean, do you have any further questions? Mr. Baltz? No? Okay, thank you. Now I'd like to move on to planning services. Ms. Yang, I believe Ms. McLean was going to ask you the same question. You want to reiterate it, Ms. McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to city planning staff, about the location of the accessory structures and their proximity to the proposed severance lines.
We're unsure about that. That's not provided on the plan, but we would like to add a condition for removal of accessory structures.
Okay, do you want to read that condition again into the record so that the applicant can understand what you're expecting of him?
Yeah, for sure. So the condition for removal of this accessory structure reads that the owner provide proof to certification of the manager of development review or wards branch within planning department and building services department, or that designates that any accessory structure that exists on or within 2 meters of the property line have been demolished in accordance with a demolish permit if required, or relocated in conformity within the zoning bylaw. Notice shall be provided in writing to the committee from the department confirming the condition has been fulfilled.
Does the applicant understand that condition and agree with it?
Are we able to maybe relay the message to the client and others before we make an agreement?
What do you think we should do, Mr. Secretary Treasurer? We could adjourn the application, I guess, is one alternative.
That's correct.
So-
Chair.
The client is, sorry, yeah, the client is also present if they're
Oh,
able
okay,
to.
the client's here. Would you like to come down and just grab a chair? Sure, you need to press the button to the front and just your name and your address, sir.
I'm Chris Murphy and my address is 4681 Newtown Road.
Okay. And so are you in agreement with that condition?
Could I hear that again? Just
Sure.
sorry.
Sorry, so the condition for removal of accessory structure reads that the owner provides a proof that to the satisfaction of the manager of development review or wards branching within planning department and building services department or their designates that any accessory structure that exists on or within 2 meters of the property line have been demolished in accordance with the demolish permit if required, or relocated in conformity with the zoning bylaw. Notice shall be provided in writing to the committee from the department conforming this condition has been fulfilled.
Okay, so I'm quite confident that there is no accessory buildings within 2 meters, but that I would agree to that, yeah.
Okay, great. So the applicant agrees with that condition, replacing item number 6. No, just we're adding that condition. Item number 6 is still up for debate, okay? So any.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question of planning?
Sure.
Or the applicant? Are we sure that no structures are orphaned on the severed lot?
Sorry, would you
The
mind?
retained lot, sorry.
Sorry, return lot, right?
Yeah.
So currently through the site plan and the satellite image, there's no structure on the return lot.
Okay, so it's only ones that might be too close on the severed lot. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so any other questions for planning? Mr. Baltz? Sorry, Mr. Barrett?
Just one question to, can I ask one to the applicant?
Try
Or-
planning first.
Okay, planning. With regards to the rail line, do we have confirmation of the ownership of the rail line?
I'm not sure about who owns the rail line, so we don't have a confirmation who's the owner of the rail line.
That's right.
I guess I'd like to ask planning, are you in agreement with removing this condition or, you placed it on it, so I guess I'd like to hear the rationale behind it.
So for sure. So this condition is placed by planning as well as our engineering department. Sorry, let me just go through my notes. So for section 10.2.1 of the OP talks about environmental noise control. And we play this condition because the proposed development, which is a new lot, shares the property line with the railway. And it is within the 300 meters of the railway line. Therefore, we place this condition as a warning clause for future homeowners or property owners about this railway. This railway is not active right now, but there's a possibility it will be active in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further, Mr. Baltz?
Yes, thank you. So I'm struggling with the idea that it's going to become active in the future. Are there plans anywhere to reactivate this line? Sounds like they're taking out the bridges that access it, and it's not even clear to me whether there are tracks on this line anymore.
I think there is currently no plans for the railway, and there's no development plans for this.
Ms. McLean, anything further? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now I'd like to ask if there's anyone from the public that would like to make any presentation with respect to this application. Anyone in the chambers? Anyone online? No, no one from the public looking to make a comment. Well, I think it's now up to the applicant. If you'd like to give us your last word, you can sum up for us.
Originally, we had anticipated this specific project to be fast-tracked, and from my perspective, it seems like there are no other issues. We just wanted to also reiterate condition number 6 and how the city has invested the 2.66 million into the removal. But I think that would sort of wrap up our last words.
Okay, thank you very much. Now I'd like to ask the panel if they would like to reserve on this application. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Your application will be reserved and we will give you our decision within 10 days. Thank you very much for your help.
Thank you so much.
Our next item up for discussion today is item number 7, 200 Spark Street. And I'm looking for Jennifer Martins. Jennifer Martins, are you online?
Hello?
Hi.
There we are.
Yep, we're here. Can you
Yes,
just give
hi.
us, can you give us your name and your address, please?
Yes, of course. My name is Jennifer Martins. My address is 5897 Fernbank Road in Stittsville.
And would you like to give us a brief description of your application today?
Yes, of course. This is a technical severance only. The 200 Spark Street to 220 Spark Street was originally two separate buildings. Through a corporate amalgamation, inadvertently became one. This application is simply to reestablish this into two separate lots.
Okay. I'd like to ask the panel if they've got any questions for the applicant. Ms. McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just questioning the ownership of parts 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Mhm.
That form part of the ownership. The reference plan seems to indicate that they're part of Spark Street and Bank Street. So just questioning the ownership.
I believe right now they're owned by de Havilland Corporation. They're all part of that original lot.
So they've acquired that part of the street, or is there something the reference plan isn't showing, or?
I understand from speaking to the surveyor, because I had a similar question, is that these reference plans are very old and relate to things about 6 feet down. So I am unsure as to what their actual purpose is.
But you can confirm that parts 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the plan are in fact owned by the applicant.
That is what I understand from the PIN abstract, yes.
The other question I have is regarding the division wall between 220 Sparks and 200 and 210.
Yes.
There doesn't seem to be any wall shown on the draft reference plan.
There's actually two separate walls. So these are actually independent buildings that just simply have a zero lot line. So they are totally independent structures that just happen to be right next to each other.
So for some reason, it's not shown on the plan. The plan shows a division wall further down between the Tim Hortons in the building, but it doesn't show one. It's strange that it doesn't show one where you're proposing the severance line, but you're saying it's two walls abutting.
Yes, and in fact, I believe in my presentation, there's a picture you can actually have a look at it. And you can see quite clearly that not only are there different walls, but there are different height buildings, so they are totally independent. But you're right, it should be shown correctly on the plan.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Baltz, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Only if we could see that photo that shows the walls. We bring up the presentation.
So there you can quite see that Howard Jewelers or 200 Spark Street is actually a full story higher than the subsequent building that it's being severed from, and actually totally different facades and materials.
And those walls essentially abut. There's no space between them.
Correct. Yeah, it's just a zero lot line.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Wright, do you have any questions for the applicant? Mr. Barrett? No, I don't. So I guess there were originally two different buildings and they were merged just when one guy bought the whole thing. Is that right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, it was totally by accident.
Okay, and so there are independent services that are there
Yes,
as a result of those two independent buildings.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, they've had the same. I had the client send me all the water meter, et cetera, billings. It's been that way for over 60 years.
Okay, okay. Ms. O'Connell, you have some comment to make?
Thank you, Chair. Just some added information. I just zoomed in on the R plan that was created to Ms. McLean's question, and it looks like those parts were likely created related to encroachment agreements for the city, so that I wouldn't be surprised if those were actually owned by the part of the Spark Street right-of-way, and that the right-of-way, that part was created on an R plan to reflect an encroachment of the building onto the right-of-way. So like an older cornice or an element of the building, that sometimes means we have additional parts created.
Okay. Actually, there is a cornice, so that would make sense.
Thank you for that. I guess the application is seeking severance of these as part of the applicant's ownership. And that's where my question was, with regard to who owned 1, 2, 3, and 4. They look like they're part of the city street, subject to an encroachment, but the applicant is claiming they own them, and I just wanted to seek the clarification on that. Thank you.
Ms. O'Connor?
Just from my reading and just past knowledge, my suspect, without doing a title search to confirm, is that it's actually owned by the city and it's subject to an encroachment agreement for those buildings, for their canopies to overhang. That'd be my assumption.
Amend the application, or we need to get.
So there's discussion here that the application needs to be amended to reflect that. That it's not part of ownership, but it's just that it is an encroachment.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't think the client has any intention of trying to own any of the city right away, but rather with these very old plans, sometimes it is difficult to figure out exactly what is going on there. But I'm happy to take away a condition if planning agrees to confirm ownership, and if it is in fact owned by the client, to confer whatever's in the right of way to the city.
Ms. O'Connor, do you agree with that kind of condition?
Mr. Chair, I'm just struggling with what the wording of the condition would be. I think, or perhaps I need to look at the notice that's been provided, or what needs to change on the actual application to reflect the concern. Sorry, back to Ms. McLean's question. So is the notice suggesting that these parts are part of the land to be severed? Is that the challenge? Oh, I see. Parts.
So the severed land includes part 4, which looks like it's part of Spark Street, and the retained land indicates ownership of 1, 2, and 3, which again looks like it's part of Bank or Spark Street.
I believe in my discussions with the surveyor, he thought that those parts were part of the cornice above the Howard Jewelers, but you know, I'm happy to be corrected there if that's incorrect.
Well, I think we need direction from the applicant's agent on what we're dealing with.
Yeah, so if you could probably put together something that'll show us what these parts are dealing with, and then the city needs to be able to say, yeah, they're not for sale, but they will recognize them as encroachments.
Okay.
So I guess we're discussing a little bit behind the scenes here, but I think maybe an adjournment might be in order just to resolve that issue. So to that end, I'm going to ask the panel if they would like to adjourn this application to our next available slot. And when would that be, Mr. Secretary?
That would be October 7th, Mr. Chair.
So Ms. Mertens, are you okay with that adjournment so we can resolve this issue?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so all those in favor of adjourning this application to the 7th of October, please raise your hands. So that's what we'll do. We'll adjourn it till October the 7th, and hopefully the parties can talk and resolve that misconception or confusion. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now we'll move on to item number 8, having to do with 191 Woodroffe Avenue. And here I am looking for Mr. Segreto. Are you available, Mr. Segreto?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, committee members.
Good afternoon. Mr. Segreto, do you want to give us a brief description of your application today?
Yeah, maybe we can go to the PowerPoint and we can go through it. What we have in front of you here today is an application for severance. There's an existing single-family dwelling on Woodroffe Avenue, 191 Woodroffe Avenue. And what my client would like to do is to sever this property for to create two new separate lots for financing reasons, with the possibility at some point in time of developing the property with possible semi-detached dwellings or long semi-detached dwellings. So really what's happening is we want to develop the property for future development of semi-detaches. Next slide, please. There's the art plan. As you can see, we don't need any variances for this because in the R4 zone, as of right, we can do low-rise apartments, semi-detaches, singles. Long semis need 10 meters and 300 square meters of area. We meet all that. Semi-detached needs 7.5 and 225 of lot area, and we meet that as well. Parts 4 and 3, I believe, are right-of-ways for possibly making Woodroffe Avenue wider at a later date if required. Next slide, please. This is the building envelope. If one were to do something on this property here, you can clearly see that we meet all the zoning criteria for the semis with respect to front yard, side yards, and rear yards. Next slide, please. This is the subject property. The star indicates where the property is, and you can slightly see that there is a crosswalk. It's fairly close to a crosswalk, and I'll get into that in a second. Next slide, please. This is some of the evidence that we have in the area of the construction and development that has been going on in this particular neighborhood. You can see that there's new semi-detached dwellings. There's some old semi-detached dwellings, so on and so forth, as indicated by the colors that I have on the chart there. Next slide, please. Again, this is the tree information report. What we did is we had an arborist on site. There was a concern by one neighbor. I believe it was one neighbor. She had some concern about the what tree is that? It is a Norway maple, but in the tree report, you can clearly see that it's poor condition. It will become a hazard to the public using sidewalk and roadway. So what we're intending to do is to plant two new trees, as you can see in the front there. The two blue dots there, I believe, are either spruce trees or evergreens. With respect to the other two trees in the back that are green, the two green dots in the back, those I believe are Manitoba maples, and those will be retained. Nothing will happen to those. Next slide. That's it. That's my presentation for now.
Thank you. I'd like to ask the panel if we've got some questions for you. Ms. Wright, do you have any questions? Okay, we'll move to the next one. Mr. Barrett, do you have any questions? No, I don't. Okay. Ms. McLean? Mr. Baltz? Okay. We'd now like to ask Elizabeth King, Planning Services, if you've got some comments to make with respect to this application.
Hi, no concerns from us, but let me know if you've got questions.
Okay. Mr. Baltz, do you have any questions for planning?
Yeah, so regarding the Norway maple, it's a city tree. Is the city in agreement that this is in poor condition? We didn't see any photos of it or.
I see she's online, but I'm going to defer to Miss Young there.
Thank you. I thought that's what would happen.
Hello, Ms. Young.
Thank you for the question. I have visited the site and I do agree that the Norway maple is in decline, but I do just want to note that really it's not affected by what's being proposed here. It's not related to the severance at all. So it will be more fully evaluated through the building permit process when they get to that stage. So if there's any opportunity for retention or pruning or anything else, it would be better evaluated at that time.
Thank you.
Ms. McLean, do you have any questions for? Okay, is right?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay. Mr. Barrett? Okay. All right, so our next up is the public. Does anybody from the public would like to make a presentation? I have two residents that have, one is online and one is here in person. I'm looking for Christina Shamins.
Thank you. My name is Christina Shimmons, and I live at 1993 Anthony Avenue, Ottawa, Ontario, K2B 8N5. I first wanted to comment about the tree. I'm not an arborist, but I was quite surprised when I read the assessment that it was considered to be in such poor health. To myself, I don't see anything to the naked eye that would, betray that the tree was in poor health. Secondly, I wanted to point out, I live in the neighborhood where I live, there are multiple developments going underway right now, which has caused quite a bit of strain on myself and my neighbors. Right now, the two buildings or the two developments on Woodroffe are for multi-unit dwellings, and there is no parking being provided for either of those. I would argue that the addition of two potential more buildings could cause issues in terms of traffic. And also, we do not know if there are any plans to build parking for these dwellings. Currently, even without the buildings being complete and occupied, we struggle and deal with parking on our street. Our street is a secondary street with no sidewalks. And it's, as a pedestrian, it is hazardous. There'll be cars parked along the street, which necessitates me to walk alongside the cars. And there are times when I am concerned about being hit by traffic. I have a 13-year-old daughter, and we do not permit her to walk on her own due to these safety concerns. So I just wanted to bring that up, and also to, even before the additional parking that we do anticipate with the completion of the two multi-unit dwellings, we're concerned about parking in the winter. This past winter, because we do not receive full snow clearance due to being a secondary road, there were times when I was worried about even getting out of my driveway with the snow piled on the side and the cars parked on the side. It was really difficult for me to get out of my driveway, even with the cars being parked on the other side of the street. I also wanted to point out my concerns about the strain on existing infrastructure. We have noticed slowing of our internet access. There are also concerns about the strain on water and sewer. Also, in terms of severing the property, there is the issue of a loss of some green space with two structures now being placed on one, or a lot that was for one small World War II home, I believe. And I also wanted to point out, with these having two dwellings so close to the crossway, which is, that's one of the main crosswalks that are used for people to get across Woodroffe Avenue onto Anthony. The other one is up on Flower Avenue. It's a lot of parents with their school children do use that crosswalk in order to get to and from school. I just worry about, where, if there's going to be a driveway put in place, how that is going to impede or make it more dangerous to use the crosswalk. Anyways, those are just some of the concerns I have. There's just so much development going on, and we don't know what the impact is for the stuff that is currently being built. And to sever the property, it's just, anyways, it's just more people, more buildings, more structure in a small area. Thank you.
Okay, does the panel have any questions for the applicant? The public. Ms. Wright? No, I don't. Mr. Barrett? No, I don't. Mr. Baltz? Ms. McLean? Okay, no questions for the public. Now I'd like to give the applicant the opportunity to. Is there? Yes, there's somebody else online, I think, eh? Arbin Gurung, sorry about that. Are you available, sir?
Yes, available.
Okay. Do you have your camera on, or you prefer to be incognito?
I'll put my camera on, just give me a moment.
Sure. Okay. You have the floor, sir. You have 5 minutes if you'd like to make a presentation.
All right, thank you for the opportunity to speak for the 5 minutes. I also live right across the street on 1991 Anthony Avenue. K2B 895. I'm the next door neighbor of the uh, person that just spoke, and I kind of like to agree with the sentiment that he provided as far as the concerns about the trees, the traffic issues, the parking during the winter, and in addition to the fact that within our house, there's a house behind us that was demolished, and there's an 8-unit apartment that's being built. They reduced the distance from 21 feet to 5 feet. It's already too close to our house. There's 2 more units right beside the one that's being proposed that's going on. I believe there's 8 units each. So if I'm doing the math right, there's 24 units, and both of these developments are not required to have parking. Cities, the rationale behind that is so that people could use the train and use the public transportation as they think that it's close to grocery stores, schools. And in addition, the tree that's in front of this current house is, I walk by there all the time. I do not see any visible damage. I think it doesn't make sense to cut it down because it is a mature tree, it provides shades. And as far as we're concerned, it hasn't broken down or caused any issues as far as safety. In addition to that, I think another issue is right along that intersection where Anthony and Woodroffe meets. During the rainy season or when the snow melts, there's a huge issues of puddles. So we've had to deal with the city enough in the past, tell them to clear the drainage so there's no puddle of water. It is already dangerous for the kids or the public to cross when it's raining because there's a puddle there. Cars drive by, it splashes beyond the sidewalk. And with addition of these 2 units going right where there used to be 1 unit, there will be more water coming to the street. And also, the applicant does not provide what kind of buildings are going there. Could it be like 2 buildings with 8 units, 10 units? So it doesn't really make sense to basically apply for something just to separate it into 2. Are the applicants going to make further requests to see what kind of a building they're going to put in there? That's another concern. Another concern is that parking. There's going to be approximately 30 to 40 different units within 10, 20 meters of where we live, and none of them are guaranteed to have parking. So wintertime, as Christina mentioned, there's no sidewalk on Anthony. Where are they going to park? Like, we've had issues just reversing out of the driveway. When the cars are parked close to the road, it creates a hazard, dangerous for us to even get out of our own driveway. And in addition to that, I think any other issue would be just the noise issue. Like there's been construction going on here for the LRT for the last 5 years with these 3 buildings currently being built right now. I'm not too sure like if adding 2 more buildings with 8 or potentially more on each would create the chaos that we're not really looking forward to. In addition, I think looking at the 4-part test that the city provides, it's not fitting along the line of like the characteristics of the neighborhood. I think with adding these buildings, it's going to completely change the outlook of the neighborhood. This used to be a family, like most of the lots had maybe townhouses, 1 or 2 units, but adding multiple units can only negatively affect our lives and change the characteristics of the neighborhood. I think before the panel members could approve or disapprove this, I think you have to consider the concerns of the public because we've showed some concern and it's just been ignored. And just the fact that for 185 Woodroffe, the 184 Woodroffe, I was told I was able to file an appeal, but when I filed an appeal, I got a letter from Ontario Land Tribunal saying individuals aren't allowed to file an appeal of the panel's decision. So it doesn't really make sense. So if the developer is going to just basically develop whatever they want, then what I don't even understand the purpose of me speaking here. So having said that, I think you should consider residents that's been here for 10+ years, and the life that they used to enjoy is being negatively affected. So please consider that before you make that decision. Thank you.
Thank you for your input, sir. I'd like to ask the panel if they've got any questions for you. Ms. Wright, do you have any questions? Mr. Barrett? Ms. McLean? Mr. Baltz?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Most of the issues that you've raised are with regard to a potential building that might be built. But I'm interested in hearing if there are concerns with the severance, which is all that we are considering today, right? So the buildings that we're talking about presumably would be built according to the zoning bylaw. And so we have nothing to say about that. So really all we're dealing with today is creating 2 lots that would conform to the zoning bylaw for many types of buildings. And what about that would be an undue impact on the neighborhood?
My thing is, why don't they just wait until they know the plans before applying for these changes? So does that mean they have to come back to the panel and then apply for, instead of doing it at a stages, like say, okay, we're gonna separate these into 2, then come back later and then ask to.
The applicant can probably answer that, but there's nothing before us today that says that what will be built won't conform to the current zoning. So that if that remains true, then they wouldn't need to come back to anybody.
That doesn't make sense, but may I give my time to Christina?
Well, Christina's got all kinds of time. You're up. The last question was Mr. Baltz to you. I think you've answered it. So anything more, sir?
No, it's just my concern is to adding more units to the neighborhood is going to drastically change the characteristics of the neighborhood. It doesn't fit along the lines of the 4 test. And that's that in my opinion.
That's what we have to consider. It's not 4 tests. There's only 2. But that's what we have to consider today is those 2 tests. And that's what we'll be making our decision based on. The arguments that you made are the ones that are germane to you, and that's fine. And we really appreciate your opportunity to come forward and say the things that you are concerned about. Thank you, sir. Now, Ms. Shimmons.
Thank you for letting me say one more thing. So in response to the severing of the property, it's just the potential of adding an additional dwelling. So I feel my comments do speak to that. So I don't know, again, what sort of structures are going to go on there, but the severing of the property will potentially lead to a doubling of at least single-family homes. So I do feel my comments are valid for that.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay. Now, Mr. Segreto, if you'd like to give us your last word on this application.
Yeah, well, as I said in my presentation, it is a severance and a severance only. Whatever ends up being built there will conform to the zoning bylaw. With respect to the tree, absolutely. If that tree during the construction phase, as Nancy has indicated, if it can be protected and saved, it will be protected and saved. With respect to the overflow of drainage and whatnot, those are conditions of severances that we will meet with log grading and drainage. I will enter into an agreement with the city. If required, as I said, in the R4D, one could technically build a low-rise apartment and have no parking at all. If one were to do the long semis, then yes, we would probably be back at the committee at a later date to create an aisle for the semis in the back, and that would allow for parking in the back. That would address some of the concerns if parking would be an issue. Again, it is a technical severance that we're doing, and right now that's what we're applying for. And my client has asked me to apply for this severance so he can get separate ownerships for these lots so he can get financing in place for his development. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'd like to ask the panel if they would like to reserve on this application. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Your application, Mr. Segreto, is going to be reserved and you'll receive our decision in writing in the next 10 days. Thank you. I believe that wraps up the hearings for today. Thank you all very much for your participation, and we'll see you in a few weeks.